Hi and welcome back to my channel and welcome to a new reading vlog. It's been a while since I did a reading vlog. Lately I've been doing like normal live vlogs where I do bookish things and in which I read books and talk about books, but I haven't done a dedicated reading vlog for a while. I think I only did 2 so far, where I read Onyx Storm and where I read books that I've been putting off. But I want to do another one. Let's do another one. Lately, the last few months, I have been in my fantasy era. I've been reading a lot more fantasy. I've been buying a lot more fantasy. But I also noticed these last few weeks, I've been craving some light, fluffy romance books. I just need some romance, some light reads, some easy reads that I just fly through, because the last few weeks I haven't been reading as fast as I normally do. I think it's because now we live in a new house and we've been trying to find a new rhythm, which is going very well, but I don't have as much time to read as I did have. And when I read a fantasy, I just read it really slow. So I just want to soak up books, and romance books are the perfect books for me to do that with, at least. But I did want to do a theme this reading vlog. And I do have a few cowboy romances on my TBR, on my bookshelves. As you know, because I bought a few in Edinburgh when I was there last month. And yeah, I have a few on my shelves that I need to read. So let's do a full reading vlog where I only read cowboy romances. I'm going to try to read them back to back. So do a week or longer of reading just cowboy romances. And the first book I'm going to read is already laying on top of this stack. It's A Wild Side by cowboy romance queen Elsie Silver. Whenever I read a book that has a sticker like this on it, it feels like such a reward to just take it off. It's hard with one hand though. Okay, so we're going to read, or I'm going to read and you're going to watch how I read it. I'm going to there I go again. I'm going to read Wild Side by Elsie Silver first. I love this cover. The green color is so pretty, and I'm really excited to read this one. I haven't read all of Elsie Silver's books. I feel like, what was her first book series called? Like the Of the Races was the first book. I've only read the first one of that series and then the novella as well, and I need to read further in that series. I need to buy those books because because I don't have them yet. But I read the 2 books in this series. What's this series called? I always forget the name of the series. Like, I remember the book titles but not the series name. Rose Hill series, and then also obviously Chestnut Springs I've read. So I've read quite a few of her books, not all, but quite a few. But in this series, I'm up to date up to this book. So we're going, by the way, I didn't say that, but this is the 3rd book. And yeah, that's the one we're going to read. It's about Reins, the priest, and he's one of the bowling men. They have a group of 4 men with whom they go bowling. And he's the 3rd man, so there's gonna be a 4th man, there's gonna be a 3rd book. But first, let's read about Reins. And I don't even know what trope this book has. Oh, I remember. Yes, they are going to marry. It basically says on the back, so it's not a spoiler, even if it means marrying the enemy. So basically it sounds like enemies to lovers and forced marriage. Sounds fun. Let's read it. It's Friday morning, it's my day off, and I've been reading this for the last day, and I'm at page 170 already, and so far I really like it. This is the part where they just got married. I mean, that's not a spoiler, we already knew it was a marriage of convenience, and yeah, they hated their guts. They hated each other, or she hated him basically. But they just got married and they need to make everyone believe it. And he's he's being cute. I want to read a few things. He wanted to help her out with something, and just let me take care of you. Where is it? He glanced up at me, and my stomach bottoms out. All those dark features homed in on me. Him on his knees for me, wanting to take care of me. He just can't help to help her, and I'm here for it. And then on their wedding day, he was absolutely loving the view of her, and he keeps showing up and trying to make everything right. I hate that he's here at all. Having him here makes my life better. Okay, it's so cute. I love this storyline where they just sort of hate each other, and then slowly the hate turns into like comfort, and then hopefully, well, obviously, to love. And I can't wait to read about it. It's so cute so far. I really like it. So I hope to finish it either today or early tomorrow. I need another, a little over 200 pages, but it reads so easy, so I might be able to do it. I'm on page 300. Hello you guys, it's Sunday and I just really wanted to talk to you about Wildside. And while I'm at it, we took the time today to put these shelves into my home office, and I just decorated them for the biggest part. I just need to do my TBR part. There's gonna be a TBR cart in a few months, I think, and then some shelves on the side as well, but that's something I'll do later. But I'm really happy. How amazing does this look? Okay, but I just really wanted to talk to you about Wildside because I finished it. I really liked it. It was just everything I imagined, everything I hoped for in a cowboy romance, everything I expected in an Elsie Silver book, and just a nice continuation of the Rose Hill series. I had to go back for myself to the first two. I didn't remember everything that happened there, but just as soon as I started reading Wildside, I knew everything again, and I was just so invested again in the series, and I really liked it. I really like the angle where each book follows one of the single men on the bowling team, which I think is a very unique take. And we didn't know much about this male main character before this book because he was fairly new in the second book. We just knew that they hated each other's guts. The female MC was more known in the two previous books because she was already friends with the other FMCs in this series. But I really liked reading about them. There were some hints in the earlier two books of them hating each other, of them bickering, and I just really liked it. I really liked their romance. It felt very real. There was definitely a lot of character development as well. They both just felt very alone, I think, in their own ways. Him with being in the child support, or what's it called, the child system, well, where he didn't have parents, he was an orphan. Or his parents weren't in the picture. Anyway, he didn't have parents, like biological parents, they weren't in the picture, and she just constantly looking out for her sister that was an addict and just alone both in different ways, but they found each other in the end. And I really, really like that, how they just showed up for each other and made both their lives easier by being together and by being near each other and just taking care of each other, even when they still, or she still hated him or was annoyed by him, they both showed up for each other. And I really, really like that. So I love this. I gave it a 4-star. Yeah, just because I give 5 I became very critical of giving 5 stars, I feel like. So 4-star is a really good rating for me. It wasn't just, there wasn't like a wow factor. It was just a really good book. And that's everything I expected. So it's a 4-star for me, a solid 4-star, and I really, really liked it. And I can't wait for the 4th book, because that is just announced, which is Wild Card. And the 4th book is going to be a age gap trope, which I don't always like, so I'm very curious to read about that. And it's ex-boyfriend's dad trope, so I don't know how I feel about that yet, but obviously I'm going to read the 4th, and yeah, we'll just see how I feel about it in a few months. I think it is released this year, but I'm not sure. Let's put it on its rightful place on this shelf, this one, because this is my Elsie Silver Shrine. And there's spot for one more, or a few more. There we go. Gorgeous. And then obviously it was time to continue with the next book. And the next book, or the next cowboy romance I picked out, is from the Rebel Blue Arrange series, if I said that correctly, from Lassoed. And the next book I had to read was the 3rd book, which is Lost and Lassoed. I do have what's the first one called? Done and Dusted and Swift and Settled. They're on this shelf right there. So I had to read the 3rd book, and I bought this last month in Edinburgh. And then the 4th book is coming out, I think this month, by the way, in April, which is Wild and Wrangled, and I'm really excited. I did have to get back into the series because like the cowboy romances I read are mostly Elsie Silver books, so I didn't remember this specific series a lot. But the second I started reading this book, I knew everything and just remembered everything, and also remembered these characters, because both the FMC, the female main character, and the male main character were already mentioned a lot in the earlier 2 books, the previous 2 books. And I was just always wondering when it was their time and when they would, yeah, come together, because they are annoyed by each other. I actually just like Wild Side. Like, this is a sort of an enemies to lovers book where they're just annoyed with each other. They don't like each other. They bicker a lot. And their banter is just unbelievably good. And that was already the case within the first 2 books of this series, and those books weren't even about those main characters. So I was already very curious to read about this female main character and male main character. They're called Teddy and Gus, and so far I made it to page 59. I'm right here, by the way, with my self-printed laminated bookmarker and this cord. Yeah, and so far I really like it. I really like these characters. I really emphasize with Teddy, the female main character. She has a big mouth. She likes to talk back, but I think in her heart she's just a sweetheart. She is best friends with Emmy, which is the female main character in the first book, and they are best friends. They grew up together. They did everything together, and ever since Emmy found her true love, obviously in book 1, Teddy feels alone a bit. She is navigating like her friendship with Emmy now that Emmy has her soulmate, and Teddy is just like trying to figure out what her place is in her friendship with Emmy, and I think she's having a hard time with that. And yeah, I'm curious to see where this goes, what her character development will be, also what August, his character development will be. He is a single dad. The mom is still in the picture. They're really good friends, but he is a single parent, and he's navigating life as a full-time single dad, because in this book he is starting to be a full-time single dad. And yeah, I just can't wait to read further. So that's what I'm going to do today. It's the perfect day to read. We have a lazy day planned today, just on the couch watching television, eating snacks, reading books, journaling. Yeah, it's perfect. It's Saturday morning. Let's read the last 10 pages of this book. I'm almost finished. Done and dusted. Okay, let's talk about this book. I'm still in my pajamas. I woke up really early this morning. It's Saturday morning at 7:15 I woke up, and I just wanted to finish this book. I only needed 10 more pages and I kind of wanted to be done with it, which sounds bad, but I've been reading this for the last 5 days and I just haven't been reading a lot. That's also because currently I'm obsessed with Married at First Sight Australia, the new season, and every evening I've been binging that. So because of that, there wasn't a lot of reading time available for me this week. But also, I wasn't fully hooked on this book. I really liked the female main character, and at the start I also liked the male main character, but I don't know. I really liked the beginning. I really liked their development, and then there was this point I already told you guys where he just wasn't communicating at all and turned into this big man-child with slamming doors and ignoring her, and that was just a huge turn-off for me. And then basically right after they got intimate, and I was like, no, he was just, I'm still annoyed. I'm not here with you guys. So yeah, from that point on I was quite annoyed with the male main character especially, and some other characters. In the end, some characters did pull through. There were some amazing moments, especially with both their dads and Gus's baby mama, Cam. There were some amazing characters in this, but it wasn't the male main character for me. I'm not feeling this book boyfriend. It's just not for me. So yeah, it was a fun read. It was a light read. It was what I was looking for. But compared to other cowboy romances and other romances, I wasn't fully hooked on this. I wasn't fully invested from that man-child moment. So from that moment on, I kind of just wanted to finish it, and that's not how I like to read books. I just want to keep on reading normally, and that wasn't fully the case with this book. So I think I'm gonna go with a 3.5, I think 3.5 stars for this book. Definitely not my favorite in the series. I think it is my least favorite of the first 3. I still have to read the 4th, obviously, that is coming out this month, but I did prefer the first 2, definitely. Yeah. Okay, but now that book is finished, we get to pick a different cowboy romance because I want to read one more with you guys, and I want to try a cowboy romance by a different author that I've also never read a book by, and I'm really curious. So when I was in Edinburgh a month ago, I bought Training the Heart, I think it's called, by Paisley, which is a part 2 in the series. And I've never read a book by her before, but my friend that I went to Edinburgh with did read the first one in that series and she really liked it. And overall, I like most cowboy romances, even like this one. It was still a 3.5 star, which isn't a bad rating for a book in general. It's just that it's not my favorite cowboy romance, but overall I really like cowboy romances, so I thought, you know what, I'll just buy the second part in that series and I'll just order the first one later. But now that we're filming this video, or I'm filming this video, and we're doing this reading challenge of reading only cowboy romances, I really wanted to try a different author. Now that I've read Elsie Silver, Lyla Sage, which I both read books by before, and I thought it would be fun to also start a new author that also writes cowboy romances. So I ordered the first one, the first book in that specific series. Ooh, it's here. Holding the Reins. It's gorgeous. This is the European UK cover. I must say the American covers, the US covers, are adorable. They're like colors all over the place, really cute. But I also really like this one. And yeah, this is the first one. So Holding the Reins, and then Training the Heart is the second one, which is purple. But in this, oh, I see it's damaged though. Not too happy about that, but we'll stick with it. But I don't necessarily like that. There you go. Anyway, we're going to read it. I don't know anything about this book so far, except for the fact that it's a cowboy romance. But let's just read the back. It says, escape to the Wild West with a sizzling cowboy romance that will leave you breathless. Cece Ashby is looking for a fresh start after escaping the toxic relationship that has consumed her adult life. Unsure of what the future holds, she returns to the small town of Laurel Creek and her family's range. Nash Carter is the recently retired hockey superstar of the Dallas Stars. So is this also a hockey romance? Because I'm here for it. Laurel Creek's hometown hero and notorious bachelor. He may look good in a cowboy hat, but he's also Cece's brother's best friend. Perfect. And they're off limits. Just like, by the way, the first one. Yeah, the first one in the Done and Dusted Rebel Blue Range novel, which was Done and Dusted. That was also brother's best friend trope. When Cece reappears in her hometown in need of a job, Nash knows he has to have her, and not entirely for business. As just one night turns into many, Nash learns that where Cece Ashby is concerned, his typical rules don't apply. Now he has to figure out if he can push his past trauma aside to live the life he never dreamed of. Okay, so it seems like he is a bachelor and just wants to have her for a few nights, and that turns into something more. But he has trouble being attached to someone. Sounds like this. Sounds like an average cowboy romance, to be honest. But I'm here for it. Let's just start reading this book today. Hopefully I can finish it maybe this weekend. But yeah, here we go. It has how many pages? 361, something like that. Let's get into it. Took a little break from reading Holding the Reins. I have to confess this. I was reading Holding the Reins and then I got through the halfway point, I think page 200 or something. And then I was like, you know what? I generally need a break from cowboy romances. 3 back to back just is quite intense. And I just needed to read something else. I just needed to read something else for a few days. So I started reading Unravel Me, the second book in the Shatter Me series, as a little palate cleanser. And I haven't finished it or anything, but I feel like now that I've read that for a few days, I'm ready to go back to Holding the Reins and just finishing that. I think I'm over page 200, 210 or something like that. Anyway, over the halfway point. And so far, I think the story on the back of the book, on the cover, isn't right, because it says he's such a bachelor and he's a dark horse and can she tame him, but so far he's a big green flag. Like, he only has eyes for her, and I expected him to be a bit cocky, a bit arrogant, and he's none of those things. He is self-confident, yes, but not at all arrogant, not at all mean, or no, he dates other women because they're not in a relationship right now, at the point where I'm currently at. But he's honest to everyone. He's communicating. He's not. Yeah, I expected something completely different. So I do like it so far. I don't feel like a huge connection to the characters so far though. I felt like in the other books I had a better connection. But that might change, especially now that I've had a little break from cowboy romances for a few days. I think I might have a better bonding with them now that I've had a little bit of a change. So we're gonna see. And I finished holding the reins, and I want to talk about it because the last I've told you is that I needed a break from cowboy romances, and that I took a break, and that I was going away for 2 nights with my parents in the middle of nature, and that's where I finished this book. So let's talk about it. This book, when I started reading it, I was expecting the man to be a bit arrogant. And it basically says on the cover, he's a dark horse, but can she tame him? And then when I started reading it, that description just didn't make sense to me, because he is nothing but a green flag, basically. He is doing all the right things. Yes, he's dating one other woman during this book, but he's very honest with her. He's basically telling her that he's only interested in the female main character. And he's just... yeah, green flags. His communication isn't bad. There are a few instances where he has trouble communicating about his feelings, but that's very logical given his past trauma, which I'll read about in the book. But to me, I just saw a lot of green flags, and I was confused because I didn't expect that, because it basically says he's a dark horse, can she tame him? And it says, as just one night turns into many, his typical rules don't apply. And we basically read nothing about those typical rules. He's just a green flag of a man to me. So that confused me, because I was like, the description made no sense. But then I figured that's probably how she sees him, how she sees him. She sees him as this like arrogant man, this bachelor that dates a lot of women, that has a lot of intimate relationships, and even though that's not true, that's basically how she sees him. So that did make sense. But overall, I was reading this with a lot of confusion, because it was just not what I expected, basically. I must say it was a fun romance, a fun cowboy romance. Not my favorite, I must say that. Elsie Silver is just very much up there, and yes, this book cannot compete with Elsie Silver books, I must say. I did really like it though. But I also must say, like, Elsie Silver is so good at creating, for you as a reader, to create a connection with the main characters. Like, I felt a deep connection with all of her characters. Maybe not all of them. The last book wasn't my favorite in the Chestnut Spring series, but most of her books I feel really great connection with the characters, and I feel like if I lived in their town, I could be friends with them. I would be friends with them if I lived there. Like, yeah, I would fit in. But with this book, I liked it, but I didn't have that feeling. I don't think if I lived in their town, I don't think I would be friends with the female main character. And I don't know why, but there's just, I don't know why, but I just missed a little bit of the connection with the characters, a little bit of likability. I just feel like we're very different persons, and I don't know why I feel like that, but it's just how I feel like. So I didn't feel a great connection with especially the female main character, also with the male main character. So it was a fun read, it was a fun cowboy romance, but definitely not my favorite. And I'm being critical here, by the way, because that's what you do if you read 3 cowboy romances almost back to back. You get to compare those. And that's what I'm doing here. So, better than Lost and Lassoed was... yeah. Better than Lost and Lassoed, definitely not better than Wild Side. And now that we're talking about Wild Side, after I read it, I gave it 4 stars, I feel like, and I told you guys that I preferred the first and the second book in that series, Wild Love and Wild Eyes. But after finishing it and reading some other cowboy romances and then thinking back to Wild Side, it made me realize that I actually really liked Wild Side. Especially Reins, the male main character. He is absolute green flags. Like, he is such a good book boyfriend. And thinking back to the book after reading 2 more cowboy romances made me realize that I didn't do Wild Side justice in my earlier review. So I'm going to change my review from 4 stars to 4.25 stars, let's say that. I gave this 3.75. Yeah, I'm oddly specific, judge me, but I like detailed numbers. So this is a 3.75, and then I gave Lost and Lassoed a 3.5, and then Wild Side is a 4.25. Those are all my ratings. I really liked reading these cowboy romances on my TBR, but I must say it was intense. I don't know if I will do this again, like read 3 or 4 books in the same subgenre back to back, because it's a little bit too much for me. I'm a mood reader and I like to switch genres. I need like my palette cleansers. I need some thrillers in between romance, and I need romance in between fantasy books. And I just need to switch it up every now and then. So I don't think this is the way to go for me. So I don't know if I will do a challenge like this soon. I still want to do a challenge where I read books in one specific color for a week or something. But then I feel like with a different color you can still change genres and subgenres, and that will give me more of a change while reading. So I think I prefer that. But yeah, we're just gonna try that very soon in the future. For now, at least, I read some more books of my TBR, which is always great. If you like this video, can you please give me a thumbs up? That would help me a lot. And yeah, I'll be back with another video very soon. See you. Doei!